wormholes, particle physics, extra dimensions. Are the wonders of so-called reality really what they appear to be? Or do we exist in an elaborate hologram? Is our universe the result of random activity or the result of intelligent design? If a creator was involved, can we discover him through our perception of divine order? This is Into the Multiverse with Josh Peck.
If an extra-dimensional tree falls in an extra-dimensional forest and no one extra-dimensional is around, does it make an extra-dimensional sound? Welcome to Into the Multiverse. I'm your host, Josh Peck. Here's my wife, Christina Peck, still lovely and beautiful and pregnant.
Oh, gosh.
Well, does it? Does it make an extra-dimensional sound?
Extra-dimensionally, maybe?
You don't know.
I don't know.
How are you doing?
I'm still good. I'm still here. I'm still good. And
you know, I think by the time that this episode actually airs, we're recording a bunch of these ahead of time because Christina's going to be out of work after she has our baby. So she'll be out of, obviously not in the office for a few weeks. But by the time that this airs, Adam will probably be here.
Adam will probably be here.
It's an exciting time, and God is certainly blessing us a lot. And the baby's healthy, you're healthy, and There's a lot to be thankful for. And especially I want to thank everybody out there who has been keeping us in prayer about the baby and our kids and us and the show.
Yeah,
and just
I really
everything.
we both appreciate the emails that we get and the messages we get every day. Telling us, that they're praying for us and hoping for a happy, healthy baby and all that good stuff. And we like hearing from people.
Yeah, we love it. We love our audience.
We love people.
Yeah, we do. And actually, if this is your first time checking out Into the Multiverse, there's plenty of places that you can find us online to keep up with the show. Where are all of those?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
No, go ahead and go to youtube.com/Into the Multiverse or skywatchtv.com homepage. If you scroll down on the right-hand side, you'll see a picture of Josh and I. If you click on it, it will bring you right to our YouTube channel. Also, if you have Roku, check us out on Roku under the Skywatch TV channel. And we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter.
And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Very important.
Oh, yes.
Today, we're talking about the dimensional cycles of Ezekiel. This is part of the presentation that I gave at the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference last, what was it, July?
July.
Last July.
This past July. Yep.
Yeah, which that was fun. That was a fun conference. And I've been told that they're going to be putting DVDs together, which actually by the time this airs might be available, so people can check that out at skywatchtv.com or prophecywatchers.com. I'm not sure which.
There's a TV store, skywatchtvstore.com. We can go to, and
it might be there.
You can go there.
But at the very least, it should be at prophecywatchers.com.
Oh yeah, they have everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're great. But yeah, dimensional cycles of Ezekiel. This topic can get a little not heavy, just involved.
It's heavy.
It's heavy, but usually when I think heavy, I think like dark and depressing, and it's not like that. It's actually really exciting and pretty cool.
This is a lot of information. This is like trying to wrap your head around more than 4 or 5 dimensions and trying to understand it. Well,
and it's interesting because I remember I've always been drawn to the book of Ezekiel, especially the first chapter, especially the vision that he had. It's just so different and unusual and unique. There was always something that really drew me to that. And, I've been reading it for years, trying to figure it out, trying to understand what he saw and why it was so different than when other people saw angels. Usually angels in the Bible, they just look like people, usually. But sometimes they look really weird, like a wheel that has eyes all over it, or humanoid thing with an eagle face,
They are described also in Revelation.
Oh, yeah.
He describes some of them as beasts and, with multiple faces or
eyes,
eyes and
covered in eyes.
And these wings with eyes and like 6 or 7 different wings coming out of one being. And
And you know what's
Try to
interesting?
wrap your head around that.
Yeah, in the book of Ezekiel, it doesn't just it describes the wheels as full of eyes and the angels too, but in Revelation you get the sense that the angels are full of eyes. It's part of the reason that I'm starting to think they might be two things of the same thing. Which
we've talked about
which we'll get into.
Yeah, we can talk more about that in this episode.
Yeah, that's basically what this episode is. So we can start with flatland unfolding and what that actually entails. The idea of unfolding or extra dimensional unfolding can kind of help get our heads around this. Basically, we've used the idea of flatland a lot throughout this.
That's just
show.
the easiest way to try to even begin to comprehend
it
a
really
higher
is.
dimension by going a dimension down.
It really is. If this is your first time watching, you're not familiar with flatland, you can check out previous episodes where we talk more about flatland. I don't want to go into all of it here because it's a lot, but basically you just think of a two-dimensional universe. They don't have up or down, they just have left, right, forward, back, and we, to a flatlander, an inhabitant of this two-dimensional universe, we would be an extra-dimensional entity because we're three-dimensional, not two. Now, of course, it's hypothetical. Flatland's not real, so I'm not suggesting that there's...
It's Mario Brothers on Nintendo.
yeah, pretty much. That's basically it. But imagine if... now, what this whole unfolding thing is, imagine if you tried to explain what a cube is to a flatlander. If you just set the cube down on flatland, all they're going to see is a square.
Yep.
They have no concept of up or down. So one thing you can do is unfold the cube, and the cube is made of 6 planes or 6 squares. You can unfold that, and it would actually take the shape of a cross, which is interesting.
Yep.
Now, the flatlanders, they would see, they could examine it, they could go around it, and they could get the sense that it's the shape of a cross, but they're never going to be able to put together in their head what a cube actually is, but they do have access to the most amount of information about this object possible. But yeah, again, they're not going to be able to reconstruct it in their minds because all they know are 2 dimensions. So that's what extra-dimensional unfolding is, and I actually think God used this process for Ezekiel's benefit, and we're going to get into a little bit of why. We can actually read Ezekiel 1:5-9 to start off with, which says, "Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. And every one had 4 faces, every one had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. They had the hands of a man under the wings and their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another, they turned not. When they went every one straight forward." So I believe what's going on here is Ezekiel actually saw a perfect example of what we call extra-dimensional unfolding.
Yep.
And the reason that we say this is because there are certain points in here, and I'm looking at my notes from the conference to make sure I have all my ducks in a row. But there are points in here where it says like their wings were joined one to another.
Yeah.
And when you actually look at the Hebrew of that, it doesn't mean that they were like taped together or anything. They were like fused. They were fused together. Now imagine if you were to take a 4-dimensional object like a tesseract, which is, or a hypercube, I should say.
Hypercube, yeah.
You take a hypercube, which is a cube of 4 dimensions, and you try to unfold it into 3 dimensions, which would be called a tesseract, and it's 8 cubes put together sort of in the shape of a cross with 2 extra arms. So you have a tesseract. Now imagine you take that tesseract and you want to unfold it again, so flatlanders can see this thing.
Yep.
Eventually, you're going to start having some of those planes take the same space as other planes. Yep. Eventually, that's going to happen.
And it's going to look like it's all fused together.
Yeah, it's going to look like it's fused together. And I think that's exactly what Ezekiel saw here. Even it says, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet. Sole is singular.
Yep.
Feet is plural.
Yep.
So these 4 feet, they all came together into one sole. They melded together.
Yes.
What a weird thing.
That is so weird.
Yeah. But I think that to Ezekiel, they looked like they were melded together and fused together, and in a physical sense they were, but extra-dimensionally they were separate. And that actually might be why when John sees the same angels, the same beasts or living creatures in Revelation, he's seeing them in heaven. They're all separate. They're not melded together anymore.
They're not.
They're in their natural habitat.
And some are like flying around the throne, and
yeah, they're not unfolded.
Nope.
Now I want to talk about Ezekiel's wheels, but before we get to that, stay tuned.
Coming exclusively from Skywatch TV for a very limited time starting December 6, 2016. When you purchase the new 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative from SkywatchTV.com, you'll receive the largest giveaway in Skywatch TV history. An unprecedented value of over $400 in free books, DVDs, audio files, and the never-before-released data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative, which includes 56 Christian classic works on PDF. All 28 episodes in Dr. Michael Lake's Understanding the Kingdom audio series, the latest version of Eastward for Windows, the 3-part Into the Multiverse television series where Josh Peck interviews Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative, and nearly 3 hours of bonus interviews on video with Dr. Lake on the Sharpening Report. For your library or to give away as gifts. Also included in this biggest giveaway in Skywatch TV history are Josh Peck's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, The Quantum Future and Extra-Dimensional UFOs. Dr. Michael Lake's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, Jericho, The Anatomy of a Stronghold, and The Shinar Directive. The new 5-part Skywatch TV special investigative report on the books, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative. But that's not all. You'll also receive the new Best of Skywatch Television on DVD, over 5.5 hours of the most popular episodes in Skywatch TV history. Travel through the multiverse on the new Best of Into the Multiverse on DVD. Over 5 hours of audio with Josh Peck on the coming Technocalypse. The best-selling book, The Final Roman Emperor. An incredible 5-year subscription to the Skywatch magazine. 2 brand new free gift books. And the never-before-released data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative. For your library or to give away as gifts. An unprecedented value of over $400 in never-before-offered free products. This is the biggest giveaway in Skywatch TV history, and it's yours absolutely free when you purchase the new 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative for only $39.95 plus shipping from SkywatchTV.com, beginning December 6, 2016. But be advised, this astonishing promotion is limited to first come, first serve while supplies last. So it's urgent that beginning December 6, 2016, you place your order for the new 3-book special investigative research collection. This offer is on a limited time basis and will end without notification. So be sure to visit SkywatchTV.com to follow the updates. In the countdown to the biggest giveaway in Skywatch TV history, the unprecedented value of over $400 in never-before-offered free products while supplies last. For more details, log on to skywatchtv.com.
Welcome back. All right. Before the break, we mentioned that we wanted to talk about Ezekiel's wheels. Yes. Now, going along with this whole extra-dimensional unfolding thing, the wheels that Ezekiel saw here, it's Ophanim in Hebrew, and that word isn't really anything mysterious. It just means wheels, but in this context, it's actually a class of angels, which we don't have time to fully get into, but we can read Ezekiel 1:15 through 21. Do you want to read that one?
Oh, sure. 15 through 21. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl. And they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. As for the rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them four. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither and was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels.
Yes. Now, and this is really interesting. There's so much that we could unpack here, but what I want to focus on is this last line here. Now, throughout this whole passage, and why it's so important that we read the whole passage, you get the sense that the wheels and the cherubim are separate things.
Yeah.
You know, they're separate entities almost. But then we get this weird line at the end here. The spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. And Ezekiel actually repeats that.
Yeah, I was going to say, he really emphasizes that the spirit was in the wheels.
Yeah, exactly. What I think might be happening here is sort of the two fingers in flatland analogy that we've used before.
Yeah.
And what that is basically, imagine flatland. If I put one finger in flatland, flatlanders will see a circle. Now, if I put two fingers in flatland, flatlanders are going to see two independent circles. They won't know that they're actually connected and part of the same entity.
Right.
That might be what we're looking at here. The wheels, the ophanim, and the cherubim in this context might actually be two separate parts of one thing, of one entity. Maybe. I mean, there are places like in Daniel that it talks about the wheels, and it seems like it's separate too. So it could or couldn't be. You know, there's different ways of looking at it. But I always found that really interesting. So that might be an example of an extra dimension being utilized. Now, boy, we are running out of time to get through this, but the faces of the cherubim in two places in Ezekiel and one place in Revelation might actually represent spatial dimensions. And we're not talking about time here, we're just talking about dimensions of space. Now, we have speculated that there are as many as 12. You know, modern M theory says that there's 11 space-time dimensions in which, you know, you would think of time more as a property of space instead of a dimension all its own. But there are 11. But there's also this idea of a zeroth dimension, a dimension that, if we think of the first dimension as a line on the x-axis,
The zero would be a point.
the point, yeah, because a line is made up of points.
Yep.
So one Planck length point would be like the zeroth dimension. So altogether we have 12. If there are 12, that has amazing biblical significance.
Divine government, right?
Yeah. The number 12 means things like that, you know, divine government. So, Ezekiel 1:10. I want to read that. It says, these are actually the three places where we get we get these faces, you know. So the first one, Ezekiel 1:10. As for the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man and the face of a lion on the right side, and they four had the face of an ox on the left side. They four also had the face of an eagle. Now, we don't have time to fully unpack this, but that wording is interesting. They four had the face of a man and the face of a lion on the right side.
Yes.
Bisected.
So, bisected,
bisected vertically, actually, because later on in Ezekiel it talks about that too. We're going to have to do a whole, it ties back into an antithesis of these angels in Revelation, and we're going to have to do an episode on that sometime. But we don't have time to go into that here. But actually, the ox may represent the first spatial dimension. Mark Flynn, in his book Forbidden Secrets of the Labyrinth, you can pick it up at skywatchtvstore.com. Excellent book. He was actually able to show a circuit within the Hebrew alphabet that begins and ends with the ox,
Yes.
Which is really interesting. And I actually have a quote here from him. He was able to describe how the ox was used in ancient Israel. The threshing floor in ancient times was a flat circular area of smooth rock where an ox or a team of oxen would loosen wheat grain from the hard outer chaff. The method is still used today where modern machinery is not available. So basically the ox would walk around in this circle over this chaff. To the ox, now we would look at that and say, well, it's a circle, that's a two-dimensional shape. But to the ox, he's going in the same direction forever,
Yes.
until somebody stops him or, until he's done.
But
he's going in the same direction.
Yep.
To him, to the ox, he's going essentially in a straight line.
Yep.
So that might be the first dimension. Now, when we continue reading that, the lion might represent the second dimension. A lion has access to two spatial dimensions when he's out in the wild. He can go left, right, forward, backward, everywhere in between. But he can't go up or down.
No.
But the eagle can.
Yes.
So the eagle might be the third spatial dimension because the eagle can fly.
Yeah.
Now we have the man, and I think that the man could actually represent the fourth spatial dimension because we have a soul, spirit. There's an extra dimensional nature, a spiritual nature about us. But the interesting thing about the lion and the man being bisected like that is the lion could also be represent the fourth dimension, because we know that Jesus is the lion of the tribe of Judah.
Yes.
Even Satan himself is described as a roaring lion. Yeah. So and Satan being a fallen angel is an extra dimensional entity.
Yes.
So I think that's why it's bisected like that in Ezekiel. Now, if we continue to the next verse, Ezekiel 10:14, which states, "And every one had four faces. The first face was the face of a cherub, and the second face was the face of a man, and the third was the face of a lion, and the fourth the face of an eagle." So now we see that the ox has been replaced by a cherub, who is a true extra-dimensional being. Thus, I think that this is representing a new cycle of the next four dimensions.
Yes.
So we go from the fourth, man/lion, to the fifth. And interestingly enough, the cherubim in Ezekiel would have to be at least fifth dimensional angels for the double unfolding melding thing to happen. So that connects there too. So we might have a clue. Now, as I gaze upon my notes again, if we take that in the order of mention in Ezekiel 10:14, we find out that the cycle would continue with the man, which would be the sixth dimension, which is interesting because
six is the number of man.
Exactly. And to the lion, the seventh dimension, which that has all sorts of implications with the book of Revelation, and if the lion is Jesus. And to the eagle, the eighth dimension. And so now we can move to the last verse, which is Revelation 4:7. It says, "And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf. The third beast has the face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle." So, again, and I'm trying to run through this really fast because I know we're limited on time.
More unfolding.
Yeah, so we can continue to a third cycle now. And with the lion, which would represent the ninth dimension, to the calf, what could be considered like an ox, the 10th dimension, to the man, 11th dimension, and finally to the eagle, the 12th. So now it's interesting to note that there are three cycles of four. These are the three verses where we can extrapolate this from. We also read in the Bible about the three heavens. There could be some significance there, but even just the Trinity.
And this doesn't really have a whole lot to do with it, but we have brought up in a lot of episodes that all throughout the Bible, it's always that line with the calf. Always.
Oh, yeah.
It's always so fascinating that it just holds so true. The lion's always with that calf.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, and but yeah, so I mean, if this is true, if this is actually, and of course, I think that the faces could represent other things. I mean, there's constellation stuff, there's stuff with procession, there's a lot of different things, but I think this might be a piece of that complex puzzle, and those faces might represent the 12 dimensions. Now, why they're split up into three cycles like that, I don't know. I think the first one at least makes sense because there's four. We do have a soul. We have at least some concept of an extra dimension beyond the third. We can't visualize it, but we have some concept of it. Now, what the other two, if it's first, second, third heaven, or if it's representing the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, I don't know. There's a lot of different areas to look at that we don't have time for in this episode.
Right. But no, it is. And it's unfolded 3 different times. Each one has 4 dimensions to it, so it adds up to 12.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It is. If you at home are interested in this and want to know more, it really is impossible to pack all this into just 30 minutes or 28 minutes into a program like this. If you want a full explanation, like a full in-depth analysis of this, you can pick up my book, Cherubim Chariots, which if you get it at skywatchtvstore.com, you'll get my other book, Quantum Creation, with that. It's a package. It's $29.95, which is a $40 value. So you can get that at skywatchtvstore.com. Cherubim Chariots has more about this dimensional cycles, and just way more information than we could pack into this episode. Also, we have the best of Into the Multiverse, 2016, Volume 1. This is the best 12 episodes of the first 20 or so episodes of Into the Multiverse on DVD for you at home. You can also check out The Coming Technocalypse. I kind of blanked on my own product's name. The Coming Technocalypse, it's an audio series on MP3 disc that I did with Doug and Joe Hagman of the Hagman and Hagman Report. Excellent researchers. We put our research together and we talked about what the coming future will look like, how technology is going to play a role in the apocalypse, hence the name Technocalypse. But it goes into quantum physics, it goes into quantum field theory, it talks about this Ezekiel stuff and more information about Revelation 9 and the locust in the bottomless pit and what that has to do with the book of Ezekiel. There's actually a lot of parallels there. So make sure you check that out, skywatchtvstore.com. Well, we only have about a minute left. This episode just flew right by.
It was really cool.
Yeah,
it was very exciting.
It's interesting. I mean, we could easily do a whole series just on this. There's a lot of information.
There's a lot to dissect.
Yeah, there really is. Where can people find us online?
All right, youtube.com/Into the Multiverse, skywatchtv.com. Go there, and if you scroll down on the right-hand side, you'll come across a picture of Josh and I. If you click on that, it will take you right to our YouTube channel. Or check us out on Roku under the Skywatch TV channel.
Yes, absolutely. And if you have any questions, comments, show suggestions, if there's something that you would like to see on the show, maybe you have an idea for an episode, you can email me at jpeck@skywatchtv.com. I'll be happy to... I check my email all the time. I read everything that I get, so I don't always reply because sometimes it's a lot, but I do my best to reply when I can. So, but rest assured, I will receive it and I will read it. So you can email me with show suggestions or comments, whatever you'd like. Well, that is it for this episode of Into the Multiverse. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care and God bless.